Hello, I'm Doreen Dotan. There is widespread confusion about the practices that constitute the Kabbalah, and I would like herein to describe to you the actual practices of the Kabbalah. What I'm about to read to you, and please excuse me if in order to read what I've written I have to look away from you, is based on a book by the name of Mesilat Yesharim, which is usually translated as The Path of the Just, but I think would be more correctly translated The Way of Those Who Go Straight, by Harav Moshe Chaim Luzzatto. Harav Luzzatto wrote this book in 1740. People were considerably more robust then, and I think it's necessary to adjust some of these practices to our present, somewhat reduced physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual makeups. What I'm about to describe to you are age-old practices, and this is the truth of the Kabbalah. This is all that a human being can do in order to arouse God above, to bring down what we call Ruach HaKodesh. Ruach HaKodesh means the Holy Spirit. This is the way of the true Holy Spirit, not the way the Christians would have it, but the real way. What that means is that God directly contacts us and begins to transfer information directly into our consciousness. In order to arrive at the level where we are able to tolerate that influx, we have to prepare ourselves. And these are the preparations, the age-old preparations that have been taken. I wrote, the practices described herein are age-old. They are very simple, but very, very powerful and effective. These are the practices that those who would lead you in the ways that lead nowhere hide from you when they tell you that organized religion is bad. There are many things that are bad about organized religion, particularly since they have been infiltrated by people with various nefarious agendas. But organized religions remain the storehouses of the practices that will move you in the direction of God consciousness. These practices are tried, and they prove themselves true to anyone who persists in them. One does not have to be especially chosen in order for this to work. Anyone who takes these practices upon themselves brings themselves to holiness. Guaranteed. One of the most important practices is to regularly visit the sick and infirm. I found that I learned most from crippled, sick, and retarded children. Those souls that take on a deformed or sick body in this world are on a very high level, and they can teach you much. But if you prefer to work with adults who have become ill because your life path has taken you that way and you feel more comfortable with it, there is no less value in doing so. For instance, there is a woman who owns a bead store here in Sfat. Once a week she goes to a hospital and makes jewelry with adult cancer patients. She doesn't work with children because her own son died from cancer, and the pain of that is too much for her. She works with adults. Working with the elderly and the poor will also soften your heart, and they will teach you a great deal. Your emphasis should be on helping them more than you learning. You will learn, but do it for the sake of serving them, not you. The second method is giving 10 to 20% of your income to charity. Do this regularly. It is better to give 10 to 20% regularly than to give a large sum on an erratic basis. Be consistent in all these practices. One of the keys to moral spiritual progress is being consistent. It is better that you do less consistently than try to take on spiritual moral exercises in a spasmodic Herculean kind of a way. Do what you can, but do it regularly, and you will find that your abilities grow. The third method is the way of fasting. Now this method I have toned down some in order to adapt it to what we are capable of in our generation. It is not necessary to practice mortifying fasting. It never was. Once, when people were much stronger than we, they would fast for a few days on end. This is no longer practicable for most people. There are now many toxins in our systems, and prolonged fasting will cause rapid detoxification, which can be dangerous. It is effective to fast 1 or 2 days per week, every week, consistently, for a 24-hour period. Do it regularly. Do it on the same day or days of the week. It is well to give the money that you save on food that day to charity. It should be clear that I mean no drinking or smoking or ingesting of any substances, except prescribed medications, of course. And if you're taking prescribed medications, check with your physician to verify that you can fast. Some medications do not allow people to fast. Ask about a juice fast. If your physician doesn't want you to fast completely, ask if you can do a juice fast. That will also detoxify your system. The way of silence. What I am about to describe is a very powerful tool, but I realize that in the modern world it is difficult to find the opportunity to do this. I am fortunate to have found a town in which the Kabbalah has been practiced for millennia. It's not unusual for people to be on what we call a speech fast and go out and about with a little note that says to people, "Forgive me for not answering. I am doing a speech fast today." Everyone understands here in Sfat when one does this. In large Western cities, people will not understand this as readily. Try, if you can, to not speak for a 24-hour period on a regular basis. If not, then do it a few times a week for a period that adds up to 24-hour segments, like 8 hours when you are not working or in school. Sleeping time does not count unless you are doing this for a full 24-hour period. This should be done when you are awake. Let those around you know in advance that you will be silent for a while and ask for their understanding and support. My experience is that this is most effective when you are fasting from water and food. Nothing goes in your mouth or comes out. This practice will show you why this is a very powerful tool for the heart, and it will teach you the importance and the holiness of speech. By not allowing anything in your mouth or out of your mouth, you will, over a period of time, gain control over the things that you say, and you will come to understand just how powerful speech is. Most of us have no idea what speech actually affects. The following is an age-old practice that is most important today in modern society when so much emphasis is placed on outward appearance. Go out and about as simply dressed and unadorned as possible. Remove all jewelry. Buy inexpensive clothes, or even second-hand clothes. This is a double dipper good deed, because you can buy these clothes from charities, and you'll also be giving charity when you're buying the clothes. You do not need to humiliate yourself by going about in tatters or clothes with stains and the like. There's no reason to embarrass oneself, but wear clothes that make you feel somewhat humble about yourself because they are a bit old or a bit out of style or not very snazzy, or they're not the kinds of clothes that get you a lot of attention. Wear colors and hairstyles that do not attract attention. These are lessons in humility. This is little by little wearing away at the ego by not being in your face with the people around you. You may find that you are an object of mild derision because people like fancy clothes and so forth and so on. That is precisely the goal. This practice will humble you. Flee honor always. I'll say that again. Flee honor always. Flee positions of authority always. Say that again. Flee positions of authority always. Do not lie. Limit the use of the words I and me in writing and in speech. When someone insults you, bless them in your heart for the opportunity for allowing you the chance to learn humility. Allow yourself to feel the sting to your ego. Do not tell yourself that you don't care what they say. You do care what they say. When your ego stings, admit it to yourself. Eventually, the sting will be less, and you will attain more and more equanimity. Eventually, you will arrive at a position where someone will insult you, and your reaction, your genuine reaction, will be to bless that person. Do not harm others with words. Do not engage others in one-upsmanship. Respect everyone and everything. This should be to the point where even when a tube of toothpaste is used up, or there is no more ink in a pen, thank it for serving you before putting it gently in a trash can. Even inanimate objects are aware. Treat them with respect. They do have consciousness. Thank the walls of your house for protecting you. Thank your coat for keeping you warm and your shoes for protecting your feet. Eventually, you will come to see that inanimate objects possess consciousness. If you relate to them with the respect that is coming to them, you will eventually see them responding to you. How much more so should you protect the feelings of sentient beings and other people? Pray to God for everything you need. Everything. If you need dental floss, ask God for it. There's nothing too small for God. There are no big and no smalls on that level. Take every opportunity to champion the cause of those who cannot defend themselves, the poor, the infirm, the weak, those jailed, most particularly those jailed unjustly. Fight every injustice you can, without as well as within. Some people make the mistake of saying, well, what I really need to fix in the world is just me. It's good enough to just work on my own attributes. And then there are others who say, no, all of the evil is out there, and the best way to refine yourself is to fight evil without, and that develops our courage. We need to do both concurrently. We fight evil within, even as we fight evil without. The one does not cancel out the other, the one supplements the other.